Thanks, Kelly. We've got Kelly from Brisbane, Kayleen's in Central Queensland. And Kelly, you're going to help about reduce stress and anxiety because you're studying how to help other people do the same. So we know for anybody else that's joined, we're just popping in the chat box that where are you based, what do you do, and just one thing, one word to describe yourself. No problem, Lauren. Yeah, the tech gremlins are they're out on force. Shelley, you're in Brisbane, full-time disability support worker. So many people who have very, very busy lives and very probably stressful situations as well. Thank you for sharing. And then just before we get started, I wanted to share a little bit more about myself for people on here as well who've never met me before. And my name is Melanie Wood. I'm the founder and owner of my business, Speaking Styles. And I help women like yourself to be able to gain more clarity and confidence, to find your voice, to be able to speak about who you are, what you do, and to be able to share that message with other people, along with being able to help to reduce stress and anxiety that can come with speaking, because it's not always the easiest thing to do. And then it's, you know, busy lives that you all have, and then suddenly faced with maybe speaking on camera, maybe presenting, or maybe just day-to-day speaking to people can just add more stress and anxiety onto your day when you're suddenly faced with something else that you need to put on your to-do list as well. So I absolutely love being able to help women to be able to do that. And really just to share a little bit about my journey is that I was always so petrified of public speaking. And I used to avoid it at all costs. Like at school, I literally would sit there and go, when's the school bell going to ring? Because then I've made it through another day of never having to speak up in front of the class. And I literally went through all my life avoiding it. And then going to interviews, I used to just feel so nervous, so stressed about them. I think like I've got an interview in 2 weeks' time, and I wouldn't be able to sleep or eat properly because I'd just be fretting about the fact that I had this interview. And I would get like really kind of sweaty palms, dry mouth, really just in an interview shaking and everything like that, if anybody can relate to that. And really I used to have so much anxiety when it came to interviews, to chairing meetings at work, and doing all of these things that I just really just felt were so stressful and anxious. And that's really the journey that I went on up until I was around 30. So I managed to really avoid public speaking. However, the stress and anxiety would get worse because, again, I programmed myself into every time there was something around speaking in front of people, I would just automatically go into that process of, I'm going to be anxious, I'm going to be fearful, I'm going to be stressed about it. So that's what we end up building, and we build that habit around a certain thing that we've experienced when we were younger or what we've experienced beforehand. And I've literally done everything under the sun in order to be able to overcome that anxiety. Like I used to in interviews, I'd sit in the car and, you know, rescue remedy, it would say, you know, 6 drops under the tongue. I'd drink like the whole bottle just to go, I think hopefully I'll be okay in this interview, because of that, how much it really made me scared, and the anxiety was so bad. And I've literally tried and tested so many things to overcome the speaking, and I've never really found anything that really did help me. And then around 6, 7 years ago, I started to get into meditation, and those things did start to help. However, you know, who's got an hour, who's got half an hour when you're just about to present or you're just about to do something with a client or a customer to suddenly go, hey, I'm going to just take, you know, half an hour and go meditate because I know that's going to help me with my anxiety and my stress. It's not a real time in the moment tool that we can really use. Even though it has helped me in the past, I really was searching for something that I could help people like yourself in real time and be able to do it with your eyes open. Being able to do it in a situation like this where we've been so used to doing so much on Zoom, and we're in meetings and you might have to speak up and it's waiting for your turn and you're like, oh, it's going to be my turn next, and really starting to get stressed and anxious about it. So I really wanted to be able to find something that I could be able to help you ladies be able to do real time in that situation, and something that can be so super simple and easy to do. So I came across the HeartMath Institute, if anybody has heard of that before, and I've been able to become certified to teach these techniques and be able to share one of them tonight. There is six techniques out of that, but I'm only going to share one tonight because in the way we do things like this is that it's not about giving all of the information away, because it can actually lead to more stress and anxiety and overwhelm when you're kind of going, oh, which one will I use today, or which, you know, when am I going to use it? It can become really overwhelming. So I'm going to share with you one tonight, and it's something that you can literally take away and start doing instantly, as well as, you know, people that I've been working with over the last few months who've started to see results in there. Let me let someone in. So that's a little bit about me, ladies. Now I'm going to be able to share with all of you some amazing techniques. Hi, Susie. Thanks for joining. We're just popping into the chat box when you've got a little second. A little bit about where you're based, what do you do, in one word to describe yourself. No pressure though to pop that in the chat. So today what you're going to learn is that you're going to learn a really effective way of a technique that you could start basically doing after this session. I'm going to be able to share that with you in this session. But firstly, what I want to do is really just take you in a bit of a journey around stress and anxiety before I then teach you that technique as well. So what we want to do is as well, we want to have a look at stress as a challenge to actually strengthen the power of your heart. Because through the heart, stress and anxiety can be intelligently transformed. So what we're going to be talking about is the power of the heart and the techniques that you can be doing with your heart in order to reduce stress and anxiety when it comes to speaking as well. And for people that have been using it, have said like they've never really thought about it this way before. And it's a really simple and easy technique to be able to do. So we really want to think about really focusing on our heart when we're doing that. So what I'd like you to do, I'm going to switch around a little bit, is that from this slide, pop in the chat box where you feel you sit right now. And you might be across all of them, you might be across 2 of them or 1 of them. Just have a read, have a think about it, and pop that into the chat box just so that I can find out a little bit more about where everybody's at in relation to stress and anxiety when it comes to speaking in meetings or presenting or whatever it is that's related to you. So number 1 is stress and anxiety. You have before, during, and after. Number 2 is stress and anxiety leading up to it and then leads to procrastination of maybe doing prep and preparing and all of those things, or maybe thinking I'll wing it on the day. Number 3 is stress and anxiety during your speaking and losing track of your words. And then 4 is stress and anxiety after, leading to self-criticism and worry for the next time. A bit of a mixture there. Shelley's on number 3. Losing track of your words. Kelly on number 1. And 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, for Kelly, the number 1, that was definitely me a lot of the time. And does it make you as well feel really exhausted from that? Yeah. So these are things with this technique that are going to be able to help reduce that type of energy depletion. Kayleen is 2 and 3. Yeah, so procrastination could be a massive thing around really trying to avoid doing the work and putting the action in, because the stress and anxiety can become really a lot there. So thank you for sharing that. So when you do go through some of that stress and anxiety, what kind of effects physically and emotionally do you actually feel in relation to these things? If you want to pop it in the chat of some of those things that you kind of feel physically and mentally and emotionally because of it. Overwhelmed and exhausted. Heart rate increases and then you can't think straight. Yep. The nerve. Yeah. Or you're not alone. Everybody else is feeling something physically, emotionally, and mentally that comes along with that. Absolutely. So what do you ladies do when you do start to feel that anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, the heart rate? Like, what's some things that you put into place? If you do, if you don't, that's totally fine. But what's kind of something that you tend to do to manage that? Kaylee's throat gets constrained and then affects my breathing and makes my train stop. Yeah. That does happen. Kaylee uses tapping and meditation. Yeah. Susie's doing prayer, meditation prior to big sessions and doing it. Yeah. Go for long walks, meditate. So these are some fantastic things, absolutely. But they are things that you actually have to do well before you're going to do that. So then the good news is that I'm going to be able to give, Shelly goes for a smoke straight after. Love it. So firstly, before I go into that, is that can people let me know, how is that all working for you when you're doing all of that? Like, say out of 10, how are these things helping you for being in that moment? Yeah. So let's see if we can move that up a little bit more and you know, heading up there to 10. And so the good news is that I do have something to be able to help you be able to have something that you can do, as well as an additional thing to what you already do, but being able to do it right here in the real time and in the moment to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to, because I'm going to teach you the first step in that. Providing I do it before, it's probably around a 5, but I don't do it most of them. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the first step in this now. And then I'm going to do the second one towards the end after I've done some more explaining around more about it. So what I'm going to get you to do is just get comfortable where you are and uncross your legs and have both feet on the ground. And then when you're ready to close your eyes. So begin to focus your attention in the area of the heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area. Breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable for you. And then when you're ready, you can come back and open your eyes. How does that, is that helping a little bit? Does that feel good? Just really focusing on that heart area. So that's what I want you just to focus on right now. And it's called heart focused breathing. And those are the things, and I'm going to add another element to that towards the end to really just build on focusing on that heart area and really being able to reduce the heart rate when you do feel like you're in a bit of a stress or anxiety situation. And when we're able to reduce that, it really does help impact. So I want you just to remember that word of heart focused breathing and this little element there that I've shown to you. And then I want to just chat a little bit more around heart focused breathing. So has anybody ever felt when they have been a bit stressed or a bit fearful or anxious that they have felt their heart rate does increase? Raise your hand, anybody that has felt like that. So then as you can see on the slide is that when we are feeling like that and we might be feeling anxious or fearful, those types of things, they then tie to an emotion. So it could be frustration, it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be frustration, impatience, withdrawn, all of these different things. And Kelly was so relaxed there. So what happens is that the more we are then in that moment of raising our heart rate, going really into incoherence is what that is. You can see on the slide that your heart rate is just going faster than it should be. And then what happens is when we're feeling in those types of emotions and our heart rate is going, and people have said it as well, where they can't focus, they can't think straight, you've lost your words. And that's a reason behind, because your heart is doing all of this work. It's actually producing cortisol, it's producing adrenals, and it starts to really impact so much in your body. It starts to impact your cognition and your memory, which then comes down to, loss of words and that focus that you're not able to do because your heart rate is producing a fight or flight or freeze mode, wanting to do one of those things rather than in the moment think clearly about what you're going to say next or the decision that you're going to make. All of those things really start to impact. So we really want to be able to bring it down to the blue section. And as you can see how much more coherent it is when we get it into the blue, and we're then switching those emotions to ones of care, appreciation, compassion, excitement, love about what it is that you're doing. And that technique that I've just shared with you is that that's something in an instant that we can change. We can change that by focusing on our heart. We can change that from being really incoherent to coherent. And then that means that you're going to be able to remember your words, you're going to be able to make decisions better, you're going to be able to communicate more effectively as well. Then you're not going to have that dry mouth, you're not going to be really just, feeling really out of sync with that. So that's just something to really think about, is that you want to be able to change that. However, I do like to say to people is that, when we've got so used to being in the red, when it comes to something maybe a bit fearful, especially when it comes to speaking, whether it's speaking up in meetings, speaking up in public, we've developed a program, which I had as well. I had the program of public speaking, no thank you, somebody else, that's not my thing, it's somebody else's thing. Then I programmed into my mind and body that I was going to be fearful and stress and anxiety. So it means when we're faced with that, when it comes to speaking or comes to something that we're uncomfortable with, our bodies have already got there automatically before we have. And they're already expecting that same emotion of the heart rate that's going to go up, and frustration, anger, all of those things. So in doing these techniques, it's really about, I want you to think about just being patient with yourself, because it could potentially is that when we go through change, is that sometimes we can feel more stress or more anxiety because of it. It's giving yourself time to make that shift between the red and the blue as well. So that's just something else to think about. It is something you can get results from. And just to share that I've had some people, I'm doing this now for over a month, that as I was training in it, I had some volunteers to be able to use these techniques. And I had a follow-up call with her today, and she's been using it now for about 6 weeks. And anyway, one of them that I shared with her, she was on a motorbike at the weekend with her husband, and they went to this really kind of high cliff place in, I think she's in Brisbane. And he was in the front driving, and she was at the back, and he was getting really anxious and really fearful about the fact of where they went. It was quite a sheer drop off. And in that moment, she went, I'm going to use one of those techniques that Melanie gave me, because there's one of them that really talks about when we can bring up our energy, it affects other people. And she just went straight into her heart, and she said instantly he stopped fretting, he stopped getting really anxious, and she wasn't either. And I thought that's really powerful, because that's in a moment of sheer panic that she went, I'm going to use this technique to help him and help my husband. And I thought that's really powerful, is that instantly in that moment, she went straight to her heart and the whole situation changed. So that's the power of the fact that it's not just about speaking. You can use it to be able to help other people bring their energy down as well. Because what an amazing place of, is that we get to be of service to people. When we learn these techniques, is the fact that we can actually impact and help other people at the same time. So if you're faced with someone who is maybe in that moment of stress and anxieties, that you could just go to your heart and really project that out to other people. Because what we really want to look at is that mind-body connection and the emotions that we tie to anxiety, to stress, and the behaviors that we tend to display when we are in that moment. So we really want to be creating, so with that heart-focused breathing, is that we want to create a new baseline. So your baseline that you could be having up until now is that that's a habit that you've developed, and we want to create a new one. So using that technique means that you could go from anxiety, stress, fear, wherever it is for you, and we want to switch it over to having more inner peace, being happy, being able to be in love as well, and really changing those patterns over. But we have to look at it in a way that we're connecting our minds, we're connecting our bodies, we're connecting and shifting our behaviors and our emotions. So it's a way of, like what I said about that lady, is in that moment, she then chose to change that behavior by changing her emotions and connecting with her body and her mind and doing that for someone else. So we really want to look at helping you to create that new baseline, because whether it's incoherent or whether it's coherent, it's the same type of thing. We just want to be able to shift that over. So using that technique is a way of being able to do that. So I just wanted to ask, is that, having a think back to your last situation to do with speaking, have a bit of a think, and you can put this in the chat boxes, that from memory of maybe your last situation that you've been in over the last few weeks, what's something that really stands out to you in connection to that you experienced in that moment? Because then we want to be able to look at how in that moment you could then change that over. Because we really want to then look at getting order out of chaos, and to share, something when I was really anxious, and it was a bit of a funny one. It was in an interview many, many years ago, and I got so fearful and anxious and stressed about it that I started saying things like I had never said in my life before. Things would just come out of my mouth and go, like, what did I even say that? And it was a very professional position that I was going for, and the word that I was looking for was collaboration or teamwork. And I just could not think of it because my brain had shut down. And I said in the interview with a panel of 3 people, I said, well, it's just, when you just, everybody mucks in and we just get the job done. And it was something in my feedback that they actually gave me back and said it probably wasn't appropriate. And that really, I do go back and I remember thinking that's because I wasn't in sync with myself, and my brain was just trying to kind of find any words that they possibly could, but it was a word that I had never even used in my entire life. So, maybe think of a situation, a funny situation you've been in where that has happened to you, and maybe what some things that have happened to you when your brain has shut down in that moment. And it's always good to be able to laugh at ourselves as well. But it's something, to think about in past experiences, that potentially you've started to realize that being out of sync with your heart and mind then does definitely causes those types of situations. Kaylee said it happens at work a lot. Mine as well. Just have a bit of a funny moment around it. So what we want to look at is we want to be able to, it's a heart talks to our brain. So that's why we want to, Shelley, I did a presentation on my business 2 weeks ago. I memorized everything to say, but when I started speaking, it went well in the beginning, but then I blacked out and couldn't remember everything that I said. Yeah, so that's another thing, that during it, you can completely blank out because maybe those emotions or your heart starting to beat in that moment. Definitely. Yeah, that's right, Susan. Yeah, the waffling, yes. The waffling is always a sign of the heart is incoherent, definitely. Kelly did 2 online presentations. She was so nervous that my brain did shut down, literally. My tongue got stuck at the roof of my mouth. Oh, yay, you passed. Well done. Well done to you. So what we want to be doing is, it's a bottom-up communication. So we want to be getting coherent with our heart so that our heart can speak to our brain. A lot of the time when we're in those moments is that we start to try and use our brain to be able to overcome that, and it's never going to happen because we start to make our brains worse. We're starting to overthink, overanalyze. We're starting to feed our bodies with cortisol and adrenals, and then it's just, until we be able to turn that down and really connect with our heart, we're never going to be able to do it with just our minds at all. So we want to call it a bottom-up communication. The more we can connect and talk with our heart, the more that then your heart can talk to your brain. Because does anybody know that our heart sends more messages and signals to our brain than the other way around? Let me know if anybody has heard of that before. So that's really interesting, and that's why, yeah, so that's why we really want to connect with that heart focused breathing and really change that up, because our brain, our heart has its own neurons and it has its own memories. It has short-term and long-term memories, which means when it comes to speaking, all of those things is that it has a memory of, oh, we're speaking, we're doing something really anxious. That's right. We need to put the accelerator on because we're in that moment that I'm used to when I put the accelerator on. So we want to put the brake on our heart to then open up our brains to then be able to have those words that we need as and when we require them in those situations that we have. So when we do connect from our hearts to our brain, it then increases our cognition, it then increases our immune system, and increases so much more about how we feel and how we connect with people. And it really just increases how we make decisions, how we communicate more effectively with people, and how we react and respond to things as well, rather than it being about trying to communicate with our brains. Then that's something to really think about. So in this one, and I spoke about it just a few moments ago about one of the people who've been doing these techniques, and it's really about thinking about is that we have this magnetic field, and it can actually reach out several feet. So we really want to remember that, and I feel that when we are speaking, whether it's on here or whether it's in person, is that, you know, we have the control and we have the responsibility for managing our own energy, which means that we get to be able to help the energy of the room or help the energy online. So it's really just to think about is that, you know, our thoughts and emotions do affect the heart, and then it really affects what kind of magnetic field goes out there as well to other people. And to share something as well, and with Susie, you were there when I spoke, and Kelly as well, when I spoke in February on stage, and I was on towards the end of the day. There was, I think, up to like 200 women, and the couple of speakers before, you know, it just what they were sharing in their message, it was coming up to that afternoon tea, the energy in the room started to come down. And in that moment, I thought, well, I need to think outside the box here, and I was not going to be able to do my first line that I had already rehearsed and practiced, because the energy in that room needed to be lifted. So like this, that magnetic field was, I needed to change the energy in the room in order for them to be receptive to listen to what I was going to say. So that was really an incident for me that I had to change and go, I have a responsibility and I can be in control of doing that. So I did, and I got everybody up and changed the energy, ready for them to listen to me. So that's another thing to think about, is that if, you know, have you ever walked into a room, and I know for a lot of us that hasn't really happened for a long time. However, have you ever walked into a room somewhere and you've just felt the energy's off? And you went, whoa, what's going on in here? Like something is really off in here, because that's obviously somebody else's energy. But as doing speaking online, offline, is that I feel that you have control and a responsibility of, you can change that energy by changing your energy of doing heart focused breathing. And then what can you then do to lift the energy in a room or at the other end of a camera, and really build that. So that's just something to think about. The more you do heart focused breathing and really be able to project that out into other people, then so much can change in that moment. So then if you do have a notepad and pen, if you don't, then it's fine. But I was just going to get you to draw a circle, but you can even just, you know, in your head just now. So what I call this is when it comes to speaking, when it comes to, you know, Kelly said, you know, getting exhausted before, during, and after. When it comes to when we're speaking, is that we can end up with these depletion emotions. because the lead up to doing something is that we're staying in one of those quadrants that really deplete our energy. And then, you know, people then procrastinate on things because their energy is just really heavy and going, oh, I've got this thing that I need to do, and oh, I just don't feel like it because, you know, it's just making me really stressed and anxious. So as you can see on the left hand side is that anxiety and impatience and anger, frustration, resentment, all of these things produce cortisol. And then our heart rate starts to go up really high. So we want to be able to come over to the right hand side. And I hope that's the same way for you ladies when I talk about right and left. I just suddenly realized that I'm like, when I talk about the cortisol one, is that on your left? Is that on your left or right? Yes. Okay. Just checking. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. It's not back to front. So then we want to be on the love and appreciation, excitement, and really producing DHEA and producing that hormone that is then going to give us more energy to get those tasks done and then not feel that exhaustion on the other end. And I know that so well that I used to do speaking and I just honestly, you wouldn't see me for about a week because I would just be on a heap on the ground afterwards because I've exhausted and depleted my emotions, but I've depleted myself because cortisol and adrenals have been absolutely wreaking havoc around my body. So what I want you to think about even for just now is that, you know, mark in the chat box about maybe what quadrant do you feel that you spend a lot of your time when it comes to speaking and when it comes to that and stress and anxiety come in. Like, do you feel more that you're on the bottom left hand side, the top right? Obviously there is other types of emotions in there. Have a bit of a think of where you tend to spend a lot of your time when it comes to that. So down in the impatience is normally around sadness, withdrawal as well. And then up in anxiety would be anxiety, anger, frustration, that type of emotions that end up on those ones. Susie's up on the top left. Kelly's in the low right. Appreciation. Yay! Shelley's an impatient one. And then I want you to think about where would you like to be? Where would you like to move to most of the time? Susie wants to be in love and appreciation. Both sides. Shelley wants to be in love. So I want you to think when you are doing the heart focused breathing, or you're in that moment where you're going in to do something around speaking, and just think about, oh, I could shift my emotion, like, oh, I've got this coming up, I feel a little bit stressed. Really. So I want you to, think about is that when you maybe do go to the other side, is that, you know, think about doing that heart focused breathing to really shift that energy as well. And for Kayleen as well, for you, if you ever dealt with any tricky customers, then again, that's something that you could do is that, okay, they've left now, I'm going to go in and do that heart focused breathing and just reset myself and refocus my energy, because potentially, you know, meeting somebody that could happen. So thinking about is that you can't instantly change the way in which you feel about something to be able to increase being able to be more effective around that as well. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the second part of this technique. So I'll get you just to get as comfortable as you can again. And legs uncrossed, feet on the floor, and closing your eyes when you're ready. And then start to begin to focus your attention in the area of your heart. Imagine your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area. Breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable to you. As you continued heart-focused breathing, make a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling such as appreciation or care for someone or something in your life, or even just to focus on a feeling of calm and ease. And when you're ready, you can come back and open your eyes. Nobody's fallen asleep yet. Everybody's still awake. So just because we'll only get a few, if you want to unmute yourself, you can, and really just checking in with everybody that you were able to really connect with your heart and really be able to feel that regenerative emotion or something around appreciation or care or compassion. Did everybody be able to connect with that?
Yeah, definitely, Melanie. It was like forgiveness for someone, so yeah, which was really nice.
Beautiful. Well done, Haley. Excellent. Susie, what about yourself?
Yeah, super relaxed. I was probably close to going to sleep, but it was nice. I think it's like a warm feeling, and yes, it's pretty quick as well. Doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Shelley, how did you go?
That was great.
I feel more relaxed now. Thank you.
Excellent. Kelly, what about you?
It was fantastic. I was just trying to keep myself balanced on my chair. I definitely feel like, you can feel your heart expanding, I suppose, as you kind of filling it up. So that was really good. So yeah, that was lovely. It was a great feeling.
Oh,
and it made me happy to become quite relaxed.
Yeah, excellent. So that's just a technique that you can be able to take away and begin to start using, and it's something that's really simple to even just think about, even if it's just beginning 3 times a day, and again 30 seconds to a minute is all that it takes to be able to just really shift that incoherence to coherence. And start doing that, and again you can start putting it into place as and when you feel a little bit anxious or stressed. And again, it can be in any area of your life. One of my other people that have been doing it, she's got morning sickness, and she said it's been working a treat. So, so I was like, excellent. She's like, it's my third child, and you know, I've got two boys, really energetic, and she's third one on the way in very early stages. And yeah, she said even just with the boys being so energetic, that she said it's been helping with, well, day sickness, as she said, it's not just morning, she said it's just all day. But yeah, so it's really kind of showing that it really does help with anything that you're facing where your heart might be really starting to impact as well. So she said it has even helped her a little bit with that baby brain as well. She said, I just seem to think clearer after I've done it as well. So that's really testament as well to it. So really just to start finishing off is that, you know, what's been maybe one key learning from the session, if there's been a bit of a aha moment. She's over there. I'm like, I don't know if I could ever be the weather person. I feel like in my right and left is just never going to be right. What's been maybe something that stood out for you, maybe some more information around this or the technique itself? What's something, Kayleen, for you? What's something? She's ready for bed.
Oh yes, I didn't sleep much last night. I was in bed, I just didn't sleep. Yes, so probably, yeah, the relaxation, yeah, the change in the physiology, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So glad that, yeah, you can feel that change, feel it that deep as well, definitely. Excellent. Susie, what about yourself?
I think it's good to have a technique like this because it's not thinking your way out of it, which is what I would probably normally do, is try and think myself out of the stress, which makes it worse. So I think this is good.
Definitely. I definitely, now knowing more information behind it, you know that trying to do that with our brains just doesn't work.
Yeah.
As well. Shelley, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm agree with Kelly. I am the same with her. Like, I think, like, I know what to say, but when I go to say it, I'm all, you know, gone.
Yeah.
Like, everything came out wrong, but tonight I learned something new, so I will start doing that from now on. That will help me more relaxing.
Yeah.
Before I, you know, set up another one. See, even now when I'm talking to you, I'm, you know, I'm a bit nervous.
That's okay. That's all right. But yeah, you really just practice that technique, and that's something to start seeing some of those improvements and some of those results as well by doing that. Something really simple as well. But just be gentle on yourselves as well, ladies, around doing it. Is that, you know, sometimes it can be frustrating if you're doing it and then you're like, oh, it's not working in the moment, and those types of things. So yeah, have a bit of a, you know, be gentle on ourselves as well at the same time. Kelly, what about you? I think your internet's a little bit low. It keeps coming up.
So it was, I thought it was Kelly before me. Sorry. So it was the other one.
Susie or Kelly?
It was Susie, yes. Sorry, Susie, it was the yeah, Kelly's connection is not.
Yeah, it's quite low. She's popped in there. Yeah.
It's such a quick process.
Yeah.
I think that's why I typed it. I know.
Excellent. But yeah, so that's just one of the techniques out of, obviously there is 6 out there, but that's enough to digest and be able to put into practice and do, because with the other ones, it is something in terms of having that support as well around doing it. Yeah. Do that one anyway, see how you go. If anybody has any questions on any of it as well, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And really just to finish off, ladies, and wherever you go with all your heart.
Thanks, Melanie.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much. But yeah, if anybody does have any questions, feel free to stay around and ask away. For people that want to, or they're like, yep, we're ready, I need to get back to doing stuff, feel free to. But thank you so much, ladies, for for joining and being a part of this. It's been super, super amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Thanks, Mel.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
night.
See you.
Bye, ladies.
Thanks, ladies.
I'm trying to leave, but I can't find it. Okay, I'm leaving now. Good night. Thank you for
Kelly.
tonight.
You're welcome.